Jai Shri Ram. Now we start with Canto 26. Beholding Sri Ram, depressed in spirits and lustreless with frustration, writ large on his countenance, Sita, who knew nothing about the interruptions of his installation and had been eagerly and joyfully awaiting his return, inquires about the cause of his dejection and is told how his installation has been stopped and how he is going to be sent into exile by his father, and exhorted to look after her father-in-law and mother-in-law as before, and to treat Bharat and Shatrughan as her own brothers or sons, and never to harbor malice towards them. Saluting Kaushalya while about to set out for the forest, Sri Ram, for his part, on whom blessings had been invoked by his mother and who struck to the most righteous path, agitated as were the hearts of the people that had gathered there through his richness in excellences of various kinds, illumining at the same time by his very proximity the king's highway crowded with men anxious to have a look at the prince. Sita, a princess of the Videha territory, in her turn, who had been observing austere vows, had not so far heard all that had happened in the meantime, causing interruptions in the installation of Sri Ram and making for his exile into the forest, so that the aforesaid installation alone of Sri Ram in the office of Prince Regent stood foremost in her heart. Having offered worship to the gods, the celebrated princess, who knew her duty was conversant with the moral code prescribed for kings, was waiting for her husband with a delightful mind. In the meantime, Sri Ram, for his part, entered his gynecium, which was most tastefully decorated and was crowded with overjoyed attendants, his head bent somewhat low through bashfulness. Forthwith springing up from her seat, Sita tremblingly saw her celebrated husband stricken with grief, his mind perplexed with anxiety. Seeing her, the said Sri Ram, a scion of Raghu, whose mind was given to righteousness, could not contain that grief existing in his mind. Hence it became manifest. Seeing him pale of countenance, bathed in perspiration, and unable to restrain his grief, Sita, who felt sore stricken with grief, said, "What is this now, my lord?" The auspicious constellation Pushya, which is presided over by the sage Brihaspati and which is propitious for installation, is in the ascendant today. The ceremony is recommended by learned Brahmans when the moon is in conjunction with the said asterism. O scion of Raghu, wherefore then are you ill at ease? Your lovely countenance does not shine splendidly as it should when canopied by an umbrella, white as foam and provided with 100 ribs. Nor is your lotus-eyed face, I find, being fanned as it should be with a pair of excellent chauris shining like the moon and a swan. Nor again are overjoyed minstrels and bards or even eloquent panegyrists seen extolling you in words full of benedictions today, O jewel among men. Brahmans, well versed in the Vedas, have not poured with due ceremony honey and curds along with water from holy places on your head after you had taken a full bath, drenching your head too. Nor do all the king's ministers and the foremost among the traders decked with ornaments, nor again the citizens and people belonging to the countryside seek to follow you in state. How does an excellent chariot used for travelling or pleasure and driven by 4 swift horses decked with gold ornaments not go ahead of you? Nor is a glorious elephant adorned with all noble characteristics and resembling a mountain crowned with a dark cloud seen ahead of you in your drive back to the gynecium, O gallant prince. Nor again do I perceive marching before you a servant carrying in his hand an excellent sitting mat embroidered with a gold figure O valiant prince of delightful appearance. When the preparations for your consecrations are complete, how is it that the color of your face appears so changed and no great joy is perceived in you at this moment? Sri Ram, a scion of Raghu, replied as follows to Sita, who was wailing as aforesaid, "My adorable father, O Sita, is sending me into exile to the forest. Here, in order of sequence, O daughter of Janak, descended as you are in a noble family, knowing as you do what is right and practicing virtue, wherefore this exile has fallen to my lot today." Indeed, a couple of momentous boons were actually granted in the days gone by in favor of Mother Kaikeyi by my father, King Dashrath, who is so true to his promise. The preparations for my consecrations, arranged through the emperor's endeavors, being complete today, the king was pressed hard by her to grant those boons, and having been bound with an oath, was completely brought under her thumb on grounds of morality. I must take up my abode in the forest of Dandak for 14 years, and furthermore, Bharat has been nominated by my father for the office of Prince Regent. As such, I have come to see you while on my way to the lonely forest of Dandak. I should never be praised by you in the presence of Bharat whenever he calls on you in order to pay his respects to you, lest you should forfeit his goodwill. For men endowed with power and fortune do not brook to hear the glorification of others. Therefore, my virtues should never be extolled by you before Bharat. I should never be exalted to the skies by you even before your companions. You can stay with him only by behaving comfortably to him. The office of Prince Regent has been conferred on him by the king once for all. He should therefore be pleased by you, O Sita, more so because he is going to be the king as well, duly implementing the aforesaid pledge on of my father. I, for my part, shall proceed to the forest this very day. Please remain firm, O high-minded lady. Nay, when I have left for the forest inhabited by ascetics, O blessed lady, you should take to sacred observances and fasts, O sinless one. Rising at dawn and after performing worship of the gods according to the scriptural ordinance, King Dashrath, my father, must be saluted by you. My mother Kaushalya too, aged as she is and emaciated through agony, deserves to be duly respected by you, since you must keep virtue foremost in your mind. Those others too, who are related to me as mothers, deserve to be saluted by you every day, since all mothers are equal in my eyes in point of affection and goodwill. They cherish for me and the way in which they have looked after me when I was a child. My brothers, Bharat and Shatrughan too, who are dearer to me than life, should be particularly regarded by you as your own brothers or sons. No offense should be given to Bharat at any time, for he is now, as it were, the ruler of our country as well as of our family, O princess of the Videha territory. Kings, really speaking, get highly pleased with propitiated through good conduct and served with continued endeavors, and feel enraged otherwise. Rulers of men forsake even sons sprung from their own loins if they are adverse, and duly accept as their own even strangers who are friendly to them. Dwell you as such in Ayodhya under the protection of the emperor and comfortably to the will of Bharat, remaining devoted to righteousness and following sacred observances of unfailing efficacies, O blessed lady. I shall immediately proceed to the great forest of Dandak, my darling, while you should live here only. O high-minded lady, you should conduct yourself in such a way as not to offend anyone. This is my advice to you. Thus ends Canto 26 in the AYODHYAKAND of the glorious Ramayan of Valmiki, the work of a rishi and the oldest epic. Now we come to Canto 27. Exhorted by Sri Ram to stay in Ayodhya to look after his parents, Sita submits in reply that she, being his counterpart, her exile is implied in his and insists on her being taken with him since she would not be able to bear separation from him. Roused to indignation through sheer love when admonished as aforesaid, Sita, the daughter of the king of Videhas, for her part, who deserved kindness from her husband and always spoke kindly to him, replied to her husband as follows: "Wherefore do you tender me this advice, which makes me look indeed so small, O Ram, and which I am amused to hear, O jewel among the foremost of men? What has been uttered by you is unworthy of a valiant prince, adept in the use of weapons and missiles, and disgraceful to them, O ruler of men, and is not worth listening to. For father, mother, brother, son, and daughter-in-law, my darling, reap each his or her destiny, enjoying their own merits earned in previous lives. A wife alone actually shares the fortune of her husband, O jewel among men. For this very reason, I too stand enjoined by my parents-in-law that I should as well take up my abode in the forest. In the case of women, neither father nor son nor their own body nor mother nor their female companions serve as an asylum here or hereafter. The husband alone is their refuge at all times. If you depart this very day for the forest of Dandak, which is difficult to penetrate, O scion of Raghu, I shall walk ahead of you, crushing under my soles blades of the sacred kusha grass and thorns that lie on the way, casting away envy at my courage involuntarily, offering to accompany you to the forest, and wrath at my insolence in flouting your command to stay in Ayodhya. Confidently take me with you as one would take water, remaining in one spot after one has drunk it once. O valiant prince, no sin that may deter you from taking me with you abides in me. Protection under the feet of one's husband under all circumstances is preferable for a woman to residence at the top of a palace, or living in aerial cars, or coursing through the heavens by virtue of mystic powers acquired through proficiency in yoga. I have been taught in many ways by my mother and father how I should conduct myself in relation to you. As such, I need not be instructed in this behalf at this juncture. Unattended by any male servant, I shall proceed with you to the forest of Dandak, which is difficult to penetrate and teems with multitudes of beasts of various species and is infested with herds of tigers. Nay, caring not for the sovereignty of the three worlds and concentrating my thought on the vow of serving my husband, I shall live happily in the forest as I would in my parental home. Serving you every day with self-restraint and practicing sacred vows, I shall sport with you in the woodlands, fragrant with stores of honey, O valiant prince. As for yourself, you are indeed capable of duly supporting in the forest even other men who are not related to you, much more so myself, who am your wedded wife and entirely dependent on you, O Ram, who bestow honor on others. Such as I am, I shall undoubtedly accompany you to the forest today. Bent as I am on going, I cannot be diverted from my purpose, O highly fortunate prince. I shall without doubt live on fruits and roots alone from day to day, and shall not cause in any annoyance to you while living with you. I shall walk ahead of you and shall take my food only when you have finished your meal. After that, I long to see mountains, ponds, and lakes, remaining fearless everywhere with you as my wise protector. Accompanied by you, a heroic prince, I wish happily to see lotus ponds teeming with swans and waterfowls and abounding in lotuses. Nay, remaining devoted to you, I shall daily take my bath in them and full of supreme joy sport with you in this way. O large-eyed Lord, spending with you, say, thousands of years or even 100,000 years, I shall never experience any sorrow. Heaven too will not be acceptable to me otherwise. Even if an abode devoid of you is vouchsafed for me in heaven, O scion of Raghu, I shall never find pleasure in it without you. O tiger among men, I shall proceed to the forest of Dandak, which is most difficult to penetrate and is infested with game of various kinds, as well as with monkeys and elephants. Nay, clinging to your feet alone and esteemed by you, I shall dwell in the forest as though in my father's home. Therefore, grant my prayer and take me with you to the forest, me who am exclusively devoted to you, whose mind is fondly attached to you, and am who am determined to die if disunited from you. You shall not be burdened by my being taken alongside you. Sri Ram, the foremost among men, did not feel inclined in the least to take to the forest Sita, who was so fond of righteousness, and even though she spoke as aforesaid, nay, in order to turn her away from her resolve, he spoke to her a lot about the miseries attendant upon the forest life. Thus ends Canto 27 in the AYODHYAKAND of the glorious Ramayan of Valmiki, the work of a rishi and the oldest epic. Jai Shri Ram.